The Chateau de Emeraude, The Mothers of Darkness, Episode 3, The First Invitations. They say the castle didn't become strange overnight, long before the legends and long before the locked rooms and shifting halls. There were the gatherings, not parties and not celebrations, something older and something quieter, the kind of events where no one wrote down names and no one arrived without an invitation sealed in black wax. In the late 1800s, Europe's wealthiest families were obsessed with two things: legacy and secrecy. They built private societies and held midnight salons and traded in ideas that the public wasn't meant to hear: astrology, divination, ancestral rites. Not dark, just forbidden. But among these circles, one group stood apart, not because of their power, but because of their daughters. Families whispered that certain bloodlines carried a listening gift. Girls who dreamed in symbols, who woke speaking languages they'd never learned, who felt storms before they ever even formed. These girls weren't feared, they were coveted. And so the invitations began. The first gathering at the Chateau de Emeraude wasn't called a ritual, it was called the Winter Assembly. A polite name, a harmless name, a name that meant nothing to anyone outside the circle, but those who attended described it differently. They said the castle felt awake that night. Candles burned with blue edges. Mirrors seemed to reflect rooms that weren't even behind them. And every guest, every baron, heiress, diplomat, and dowager acted as though they were waiting for something to begin. At midnight, the girls were brought forward, not forced or not frightened. They were chosen. Each one carried a small object from her family's lineage, a ring, a locket, or maybe a scrap of embroidered cloth, and placed it on a long table carved from a single piece of Ardennes oak. The elders called it the table of lineage, a place where the ancestry could be read, the way others read tea leaves or cards. The girls stood in silence as the elders traced the objects, murmuring old European prayers, half Catholic, half pagan, and fully secret. And then one by one the candles flickered toward a single girl. The elders nodded, the families whispered, and the selection began. The chosen girls weren't told they were special. They were told they were needed to learn the old ways, needed to carry traditions that had been fading for centuries, needed to keep the castle's rituals alive, rituals meant to protect, not harm. They were taught symbolism, herbal rites, moon cycles, and the art of listening to the castle itself. Some called them the mothers of the next dawn. Others simply called them the mothers. But the castle had another name for them, a name that no one spoke aloud. Because once a girl was chosen, the castle never forgot her, and some say it never let her go. And still, those of us remember. The castle's real, and the legends are loud, and the truth, well, it's always waiting in the dark. Thanks so much for joining me for this episode of Mothers of Darkness. If you enjoy my content, please like, share, and follow for more stories.